When I first engaged with the service, my husband had been diagnosed very unexpectedly with stage 3 bowel cancer. He had had surgery quite quickly from being diagnosed, very major surgery, and had just started undergoing chemotherapy treatment. And it was just such a dreadful, dreadful shock to us all because he was very young and he was extremely fit and healthy. He was running marathons, and we had no real reason, apart from a slight worry about some symptoms, that he had cancer, never thinking it would be stage 3 cancer. So it all happened really, really quickly. We were making plans. He had a new job. We were thinking about holidays and maybe moving house. And our children at the time were 2 and 4 years old, so they were very young. And the rug was pulled out from under us, instantaneously, within seconds of being told you have cancer. So the shock was immense, and for him and for me and for all of our family. But we have children, so we had to keep going. And he had the most wonderful positive outlook. He just took every treatment and every surgery and said, I will be great. I'm going to be, I'll do what I can. I'll give it everything I can, So he was just getting on with it, and I had to get on with it too. And I was quite early on was told that there was support for both of us through this service, mental health support, and I didn't really take it on board. And it came to the autumn when the chemotherapy started, the late summer, early autumn. And I thought, actually, I don't know how to make sense of what's happened to us, and I'm really struggling. And I think it was my husband was speaking to a member of the service, and he said, I think I'm managing okay, but I think my wife could probably use to speak to somebody. And immediately from the first consultation, it became apparent that it was going to be helpful, because what the psychologist helped me understand was that I'd had a horrible shock, and I was grieving for a future that was now completely and utterly different. So life was one way, 1 minute, and totally different the next. And what this service helped me to do was to navigate that and to cope, to make sense of how I felt about what had happened, to make sense of what had happened, and to keep going emotionally and physically for Matthew, my husband, and our children. Worries that I perhaps had before I spoke to somebody in the service was that it wasn't really for me. I was worried that I was taking up time that a cancer patient might need to speak to somebody, and I didn't have cancer. It was my husband who had cancer. So my main worry was that I was being a nuisance. But as soon as I met one of the team, I realised that that was absolutely not the case, and that was put to bed quite quickly. And I was supported to understand that I needed some support too. And in speaking regularly to somebody about what we were experiencing as a family, I was better able to care for my husband and my children, our children. And without that support, I'm not quite sure what I would have done, because there's speaking to friends and family, but unless you've been in this position, unless you have cancer or a very close family member and somebody that you care for emotionally and you're caring for physically has cancer, I don't think you can understand. You can empathise and feel very sorry for people and want to help and offer to help, but it's not the same, because it's a place to offload worries and concerns and explore the feelings that you're having, but it's also a place to be given strategies to cope. And so for me, I didn't expect that necessarily. I was really pleasantly surprised at how quickly I was given a place to vent, a place to feel like somebody understood what was going on, truly understood, and strategies to cope with it. And that's what I gained from coming here. one of the things that I was offered quite a lot of advice and support on in my sessions is how to talk to children about cancer and how to explain to them that their dad had cancer and how to prepare them for him dying, which he eventually did. And when the time came to have those conversations with them, I knew how to broach it. I knew what to say. I knew what questions they might ask and how to answer them. The most memorable moment for me was the psychologist saying to me, "This is as big as it gets." And, you know, your husband being diagnosed with incurable cancer is as big as it gets. You know, he and I often said the only way this would be worse is if it was one of our children. And, you know, I hope nothing as big as that and as catastrophic as that ever happens to me or our children again. It was that acknowledgement of this is as big as it gets. And anything you do or say or feel is absolutely fine. And you don't need to make an excuse for yourself, and you don't need to say sorry for yourself, because this is as big as it gets. I would say to somebody who's not sure if this service is for them, or who's not sure whether they would like to speak to somebody, to at least try it once. Because you won't know whether it's useful to you unless you've tried it, and you really have only to gain from it, because they will be really kind to you. They will understand what you're going through. They have spoken and worked with countless other people, families in similar situations. They absolutely know what they're doing. There'll be no judgment. They will put you at ease, even if you don't feel at ease at first. And they will do everything they can to help you. And there'll be no pressure. It's totally been fine for me to say, I think I'm okay now, thanks. And then it was totally fine for me to say, I'm not okay now, please, can I come back? There is no pressure whatsoever. They couldn't be more accommodating, they couldn't be more flexible, and they couldn't be kinder.